Well, welcome to Cool Things I've Learned, Bonnie Hickman. Today is D-Day, June 6th. It happens to be 81 years after D-Day occurred. That would have been 1944. Today is 2025 is the year. I'm standing out here in Albuquerque next to a C-47. Now, the C-47 is only 82 years old, so it did not actually it was not actually a participant in the D-Day drops. However, I wanted to show you a couple of things. Last year when Ed and I were at Normandy, we were privileged to be able to fly on the C-47 called That's All Brother. And the C-47 That's All Brother was actually the lead plane for the Pathfinders at D-Day. And they, I guess it was probably about midnight or so, the young men loaded up. They had 28 paratroopers they could carry on the plane. They boarded about midnight. Their job was, as the lead Pathfinder plane, to lead the planes in and then to jump and to set the markers and the flares so that all the other, 13,000 other aircraft that were flying over the skies would know where they were headed. This C-47 they've named Old 30. It did not have a name while it was in service. They went by the tail sign. And I wanted to let you know that when Ed and I flew on the B-47, that they had metal seats along the edges, just like the paratroopers would have had. And when I came out here, I fully expected the same thing, and I'm supposed to be flying home on this. So in order to prepare myself, I brought stadium seats so I could cushion my little tushy for the 2-hour flight back to Mesa. Well, it turns out that the Hoover Vacuum Cleaner Company purchased this plane as an executive plane, and I want to show you why I do not need my stadium seats in order to fly back. Now, this plane, Old 30, you see why you don't need stadium seats? I feel like I should have a cigarette and a martini, but this plane actually saw service in the war. It has more experience, actually, than the B-25 that we have. It flew missions over Italy, over Sicily. It was a spy plane in over Albania. Apparently Eisenhower had one that was outfitted for him that had luggage racks in it so that he could use it as his military plane while he was flying. And you can see the cockpit up here. And one of our pilots is going to be doing a check ride this morning before we start flying pilots or passengers. Apparently they have to do 3 check rides in 3 months on the planes they are flying. And so that is what they are doing. And this, since it was the Hoover Vacuum Cleaner Company, I am almost going to bet that that fabric is the same fabric that I remember my mom having on her Hoover vacuum cleaner. So I'm going to have to check that out when I get home. So anyway, today is the 81st anniversary of D-Day. Just spend a moment to remember all those young men who made it possible, and the people who served, including even women that came in on the helicopters. Excuse me, not the helicopters. They came in on the hospital ships. Thank you, and join me again.